Надявам се, че сме готови вече.
I hope that we are ready.
Уважаеми господин президент на Република България.
Dear President of the Republic of Bulgaria.
Уважаеми господин министър на културата.
Dear Minister of Culture.
Ваши превъзходителства.
Your Excellencies.
Госпожи и господа.
Ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues. It is a privilege and honor for me to welcome you to Sofia, the capital of my homeland, Bulgaria. Welcome to the largest scale event in the news industry, the 6th News Agencies World Congress. Following quite exciting and informative forums in Spain, Russia, Argentina, Saudi Arabia, and Azerbaijan, we have Bulgaria hosting the 6th News Agency World Congress this year. There have been 15 years now since the first Congress of this kind, and 15 years later, we can now say that our News Agencies World Congress has reached teenage years. There have been a lot of challenges we are facing because the world is changing faster than any other time before, and with this world changing so fast, our job, our profession, our calling is evolving and changing accordingly. We have more than 16 countries attending to discuss digitalization and the future of news. We will discuss how the new digital developments and advancements make our conditions of work different. How can we sieve from genuine news and fake news? How can we differentiate between integrity and credentials? And how can we focus on the new models of ownership of news agencies? These will be some of the highlights of our discussions during this 6th Congress, and hopefully we will have 2 very exciting days ahead of us. Journalism is one of the last fortresses of genuine, verified, fact-checked news. We therefore need sources of inspiration as much as we need financing. And what is more inspiring for us than working in this very dynamic, digitalized world and being able to meet with one another and exchange insights? Today, more than ever before, it is of paramount importance that we meet, that we stay abreast of our competitors, and to stand united on the basis of interests, on the basis of affiliation, to be up to date and to create synergies. This is what we are about to do today and tomorrow in the National Palace of Culture here in Sofia. Our World Congress forums have always served as a public platform for key opinion leaders and government players to raise the bar and to relay important messages to the world. I am proud that we have most influential opinion makers with us today, and you can simply flip through the pages of our agenda, and leading names of leading news agencies on 5 continents are here today with some landmark names from renowned media. We will have with us an important figure whose work has been translated into more than 20 languages. This Congress, more importantly, unites players with different experience, from small agencies to large agencies, from 5 continents, from over a dozen countries. And I'm very happy to belong to this society. The first Congress was organized back in 24, organized by TAS. Then the hosts of the second Congress was EFE from Spain. The third Congress was hosted by our colleagues from Argentina, and the fifth Congress that took place in 2016 in Baku, the capital of Azerbaijan, was the latest event. I have a lot of notes here with me that I jotted down to give you details about each and every Congress over the years, but I think I should save some time for the discussions, and I will therefore move on to the gist of this opening speech. It has always been very exciting that we plan ahead of time for our next meeting, for our next Congress, and the location that will host the next Congress. This is quite exciting, and those of you who are not able to stay in Hall 3 of the National Palace of Culture can follow up on what's going on here with live media, which will be live streamed. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, guests and colleagues, welcome to the 6th Congress here in Sofia in 2019. It's an honor for me, ladies and gentlemen, that the President of Bulgaria, Mr. Rumen Radev, accepted our kind invitation to attend this media forum. And I will now hand over respectfully to our President, Mr. Radev. Over to you. Dear Mr. Minchev, Minister of Culture, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, guests, it is an honor for me to welcome you to Bulgaria. Holding the 6th News Agency's World Congress here in Sofia provides us with an opportunity to table up-to-date trends, challenges, and opportunities that news agencies around the world will have to embrace. I would like to thank the World Congress and the Bulgarian News Agency, BTA, for all the hard work and effort towards organizing this 6th World Congress. The future of news is the topic of the future of humanity that comes tomorrow. We cannot imagine our everyday life and routine in the future without technology, without the dynamics of the information exchanges that are characteristic of today. Digitalization has changed our perceptions of the world. Why? Because information nowadays is quite in demand and supply. It's a commodity in highest demand and in highest supply. Yet again, very often we suffer from the lack of objective and sufficient information, sufficiently credible, I should say, information. And this process will further develop. Digitalization and high-tech advancements have provided opportunities to news agencies and the media, and at the same time harbored a lot of challenges for news agencies. Established algorithms that have been utilized over the years to exchange information and distribute information have changed substantially. In turn, news agencies and the media players are faced with challenges related to undermining professional and ethical standards because of different developments around the world, more particularly the sea, the ocean of fake news that is out there. Words are losing the battle, and armies of semi-literate trolls are being hired all over the world to discredit personalities and concepts. This effect of information can be devastating, and it can be much more devastating than the devastating repercussions of bombs and nuclear weapons. Increasingly so, fake news influence models of social interactions. Information exchanges can also format our minds and modify behavioral patterns in the societies. I therefore welcome the approach of the World Congress and the news agencies gathered here today to seek new approaches for better infrastructure, for better hierarchical modeling of broadcasting and news creation. These news agencies here today are also striving to develop immunity against fake news. This effort, this commitment, should not only be vested with journalists and news agencies, it should be vested with everyone in the society, because in this environment of ever-increasing economic and financial dependence mechanisms, the access to information should remain a value safeguarded by societies and democratic communities. Providing timely and objective information, censure and auto-censure are all in the mission of information agencies.
My speech with a very short comparison between this subject and my former profession. There are many argues what the most important qualities of the fighter pilot are. You can hear anything from physical stamina, intelligence, motivation, resilience, decisiveness, to risk-taking. However, based on my experience, the most important quality of the fighter pilot is its ability to build up situational awareness. Situational awareness is the critical foundation for proper and successful decision making. That means being able to scan the environment with the full set of sensors you have, to get as much information as possible in no time, to filter the false information, and to transform this information into knowledge, and to build up a mental picture of the flight. Situational awareness in the fighter business sets clear line between life and death, victory and defeat. I truly wish you success in providing timely and life-saving situational awareness for the well-being of our nations, for the humankind enlightened future. Thank you.
Благодаря, господин президент.
Thank you, Mr. President. Passing over now to the President of the World Congress of News Agencies, Clive Marshall.
Mr. President, Minister of Culture, Your Excellencies, colleagues, invited guests, good morning. I'm Clive Marshall, the CEO of the PA, the National News Agency of the UK, and the current President of the News Agency World Council. The Council is the committee that plans and organises the News Agency World Congress, which takes place every 3 years. I'd like to welcome you to this, our 6th Congress, and to thank our hosts, BTA, and Maxim Minchev, the President of BTA, and his colleagues, for making us so welcome here in Sofia. As you know, we have over 200 delegates representing more than 90 news agencies from around the world at this Congress. And over the next 2 days, we have some excellent speakers and workshops from which I am sure we will all gain many insights into how we might tackle the numerous challenges facing our news business. Since we met in Baku, Azerbaijan in 2016, the challenges facing the news business in general, and news agencies in particular, have, if anything, become even greater. The fragmentation of audiences across an ever greater number of media platforms, the continuing double-digit annual sales decline in newspaper circulations in Europe and in the US in particular, but now gathering pace in countries previously unaffected like Japan, and the total dominance of the advertising market by Google and Facebook in many markets. According to some reports, Google's annual revenue currently exceeds the total worldwide advertising revenue from print, and Facebook's revenue exceeds the total global radio advertising market. In recent years, we've also seen the weaponization of the term fake news, creating a significant threat to the legitimate work of our journalists. It is a tactic that has become increasingly common amongst leaders who object to media organizations speaking the truth to power. We have witnessed several examples of heads of state, including President Assad, President Duterte, and President Trump, and many more, dismissing as fake news any coverage or questioning about themselves or their policies that they disagree with or find objectionable. Clearly, fake news existed long before President Trump and others popularized the term. Material which could reasonably be labeled fake in those days included misinformation, deliberate disinformation, hoaxes, and outright lies. Material whose objectives was often to damage or undermine people, organizations, or governments. But things have taken a more disturbing turn in recent years. In response to an Amnesty International report alleging that his government was responsible for thousands of secret deaths in prisons, Syria's President Assad simply told Yahoo News, "We are living in a fake news era." A year earlier, President Duterte of the Philippines called local news outlet Rappler a fake news outlet for alleging that one of his aides had intervened in a warship procurement deal. And within months of taking office, President Trump had labeled the US media the enemy of the people, and had gone as far as to use the expression fake news or fake media or fake polls more than 400 times, according to research by CNN. I think we should be clear. When political leaders complain about fake news, more often than not, they are really complaining about news that they disagree with or news that contradicts their view of the world. What they are doing by labeling legitimate news stories as fake news is trying to intimidate news organizations and undermine their news coverage. As news agencies, it's never been more important to stand up for our values and ensure that our news reporting is accurate, balanced, objective, impartial, fair, and of the highest standard. This is the only way to confront those seeking to undermine what we do. In this respect, it is encouraging to see that our high standards are being put to good use by companies like Facebook, who are now using a number of news agencies as part of their fact-checking program. And I'm greatly looking forward to tomorrow's workshop on fake news, chaired by our colleague Fareed Ayar. As I outlined in my speech 3 years ago in Baku, critical, independent journalism is a fundamental part of a democratic civil society, no matter how uncomfortable it may be for those on the receiving end of that criticism. Since we last met in Azerbaijan, far too many of our journalist colleagues have lost their lives for simply doing their jobs. All of us, whether we work for privately owned or government-owned news agencies, need to call on our governments to ensure that journalists can carry out their work free from harassment, intimidation, or worse. Here in Bulgaria, Prime Minister Borisov recently told the Guardian newspaper that there was no better place to live than in the EU. It's therefore disappointing that while Bulgarians enjoy the benefits of EU membership, at the same time, Bulgarian journalists are working in a country that is ranked 111 on the Press Freedom Index, a drop of 31 places in only 6 years, and the worst ranking country in the European Union. I really hope that the hosting of this conference in Sofia will be the start of a significant improvement in this situation. But despite all of these challenges, we can be optimistic. Our customers, our readers, our viewers, our listeners are seeking out news from sources that they can trust, and the number of paying subscribers for news services is growing. There will continue to be excellent opportunities for well-run news agencies, and these opportunities are likely to be even more profound for those of you in developing countries, as more and more of the 60% of your population who do not yet have access to the internet come online. Thank you very much, everybody. I'd like to now hand you over to our next speaker, Mr. Aslan Aslanov, the Director General of the Azerbaijani news agency, Azertag.
Möhtərəm cənab prezident, xanımlar və cənablar, əziz dostlar və həmkarlar.
Dear Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen, dear friends and colleagues, first of all, I would like to express my deep gratitude to President Rumen Radev for participating in the Congress and for the attention paid to issues of media development. Distinguished colleagues, I am delighted to see you again. I want to thank the Bulgarian state, the Director General of the BTA agency, Mr. Maxim Minchev, the team of the agency, and everyone who has contributed to the excellent organization of this 6th Congress. I thank you all for your hospitality. Tremendous organizational work has been done. I would like to point out that there have been numerous contributions of the President of the News Agencies World Council, Clive Marshall, Vice President Mikhail Guzman, as well as of the Council, Peter Kropsch, Abdullah Fah Al-Hussein, Mubarak Duash Al-Ibrahim Al-Sabah, Farid Ayar, and Alex Giboy, for preparations related to this Congress. We have repeatedly met with these people to jointly discuss organization of the 6th Congress. The 5th News Agencies World Congress was organized by Azertag and the Heydar Aliyev Foundation in Baku about 3 years ago, in November 2016. The participation of President Ilham Aliyev in the opening ceremony of the Congress, his comprehensive speech, and the subsequent meeting with a group of participants are still remembered to this day as an indicator of the attention and importance the Azerbaijani state attaches to the media. In the meeting, held in such a pleasant atmosphere, we discussed the challenges of our time and shared our views. We touched upon such pressing topics as social media, innovations, and multimedia journalism, which have already become part and parcel of the daily life of our agencies. In fact, 3 years is a short period in history, But modern technologies rapidly changed over the course of these years, which has in turn an impact on our activity and caused journalism to change. In the 3 years since the chairmanship of Azertag, we, together with members of the Council, have made efforts to transform the Congress into a stronger, more important and useful organization for every agency. Without going into detail, I will only say that one of the steps we took was to improve the Charter. This issue will probably be on the agenda in the future as well. Our goal is to preserve the status of the agencies as the most reliable source of news and to confirm with practical activities that they are an objective and an impartial source of information. You probably remember that during the Baku Congress, we talked about the use of multimedia journalism. We are witnessing agencies having increased the amount of visual news over 3 years. Even the smallest agencies were able to create their video news service. This is also an indicator of the fact that we are keeping up with the times and promptly respond to modern-day challenges. Ladies and gentlemen, mobile technologies and social networks are the main directions that create trends in the field of information. It is these two phenomena that determine our development. Currently, the expansion of social networks and online media has put forward such a new global challenge as fake news. Agencies have already begun serious work. The recent events in St. Petersburg, Baku, Tirana, and Hanoi related to the meeting of the OANA Executive Committee. The Berlin Conference of EANA widely discussed the agency's fight against fake news. We also put forward proposals and specific projects regarding what measures we can and we have to take. We can already see that agencies are gradually creating effective mechanisms to prevent or expose fake news. I am confident that these methods will continue to be improved and gradually become accessible to all. At one time, when social media appeared on the agenda, we continuously looked for ways out, and we found them. We trained specialists dealing with these issues. We set up appropriate units within our agencies to tackle fake news. I am sure that we will achieve the desired results in the fight against fake news this time around as well. Dear colleagues and friends, everyone is concerned about the future of news today. Someone may be optimistic, others may be pessimistic. I personally believe that the future of news is in the hands of news agencies. The future of news is in our hands. So the topics of the current Congress will be built around the discussion of the prospects for agencies while taking into account the times and its particularities. All of these factors will be in the spotlight of our discussions. The global goal of the Congress is to ensure that agencies located anywhere in the world are familiarized with innovations as well as accumulated experience in this area. The exchange of experience is now very, very important. It is thanks to the exchange of experience that we can use methods with social media, and these methods have spread widely. Today we can all use these methods. Therefore, by sharing knowledge and experience, all of us can help ensure that information serves peace and tranquility on the planet. Knowledge is important, knowledge is improved, knowledge is polished when it is shared. The News Agencies World Congress is an organization uniting the most reliable producers of news. While maintaining this position, we must further strengthen it, and in the context of the current complex information environment, we must inform the media market participants that we are indeed reliable partners. We are saying that as a result of the emergence of social networks and online media, the number of information sources has increased, while the use of traditional journalism information has been reduced. What is the way out of this situation? There is always a generally accepted and time-proved answer to this question. We should not ignore the news spread in social media. We have to tackle it. Thank you, Aslan. I will use this opportunity to sincerely thank you for the hard work over these past 3 years as the President of the NAWC, and good luck with your new position. You are now the Director General of Azertag. We journalists, we are not very good with protocol and official protocol, so without further ado, I will hand over to my colleague who will talk about to my colleague, the Minister, who will talk about copyright, among other things. Thank you. Mr. President, dear Mr. Minchev, dear Mr. Marshall, delegates, you're most welcome to the Bulgarian National Palace of Culture. It is truly a privilege for us, for Mr. Minchev, for BTA, for Bulgaria, to host the 6th World Congress. I rely upon you to give us a universal key to lock the door of fake news and to throw that key away and to keep those fake news away from everyone. Copyright is truly important, and there is something we need to consider. Fake news oppress, suppress democracy, they humiliate democracy. Fake news destroy democracy, they stumble all over it, and democracy stands for freedom, freedom of spirit, freedom of personality, freedom of the world. And you, everyone here, stands up for democracy and therefore for freedom. Good luck with your endeavors. Thank you, Minister. Dear ladies and gentlemen, this closes the official opening ceremony for the World Congress. Both the President, Mr. Radev, and the Minister of Culture, Mr. Panev, truly wanted to stay during the day and attend our discussions and debates, but they have tight agendas, both of them. Our President is on the way to the airport. Our Minister also has pressing assignments to attend. So we will now take a short break, and then we will resume with our work. Thank you.